I'm here. Okay, guys, I'll try to answer any questions. As I'm working. So what I'm doing, I got an order of, set some of this out of the wood in. Too much stuff everywhere. So what I'm doing, I've got all these to press. I made these transfers, so I am pressing some transfers this morning. So what I'm doing, a customer provided these. And so when someone provides you products, not everyone will print them. Normally I don't like doing that. I know this person personally, so I don't mind doing it. But the problem is what you can end up with is that if they made something, or if they got these shirts from somewhere else and it's not one of your local vendors, or they got them on sale, or they were seconds or something like that, where the sleeves are longer than the other, you can have lots of issues. The other problems too is with it not being your own, you could run into issues also of trying to replace them if there's something wrong with them. So you mess up a print, you might not be able to track something down. So a lot of places, and even me, I really don't like doing it. He already had the shirts, and he gave me a call saying he had them. What's up, Ramon? I gotta look back and forth. I can only see so many things at a time. But yeah, that's the downside about pressing stuff that customers provide instead of you just ordering it. Because even on these, they're all different brands, they're all different sizes. They got the leftover shirts, what I would say. How was your day, Ramon? It's kind of early out there, ain't it? These are also front and back prints. They're not just back, and as you can see, there's lots of different colors in them. Just how you doing, Texas Finest? You doing any tumblers, Ramon? For the I know you make a lot for the smoke shops. You busy with that? How you been doing, Frankie? That's good. I've got to run back and forth to read all the comments because the phone's not popping them up and I'm actually just using the phone. Yeah, on this design, this is one of them things where DTF is great because there were 3 different shirts that I did in this order, and there are actually more than 3 different shirts, but there are 3 different transfers. They all got different numbers on them, and they just wanted them split evenly amongst all the shirts. So they each get, I think there was 14 or 15 shirts, something like that, of each of them. There's 40 something total prints, and these are front and back. So what I'm going to do, press all the backs. When I do the peel on the backs, then I'll throw the front on, and then we'll peel the front and then go from there. Yeah, you can get some TKO. Just hit them up. They're getting ready to. They got some new things in the pipelines, and their production. They're staying up on top of it. They're moving pretty quick, but they've got some other things that they are working on for kind of to help people like me, Goon Life, other ones like that. They're trying to work stuff out so maybe they can help benefit everybody by all the video and content people's made. So stay tuned for that. But yeah, Frankie, hit them up. Tell them me and Goon Life sent you. Yeah, the guys up there, Gabriel's the sales, and they are great people. Hands down, some of the best transfer companies I've worked with. I don't get a dime from them, but they are some of the greatest people. They've sent me samples, they've sent me promotional codes, sent me all the stuff, and don't really ask for a dime. They just sent it just to send it if I ask or anything, so just to do videos with. So they're a great bunch of people, great company, great to work with. Wish I had the way to see on the phone what's what's being said. You should do a video on you making your band shirts, Frankie. Yeah, this order I got to drop off today. Yeah, good having you, Ramon. Thanks for stopping in. Thanks for giving the video a thumbs up. I wasn't planning on even going live, but I had to run some shirts, so I figured I would cover it on the live instead of making a video of just pressing this. I figure I would go live so people can actually see where people's... If anyone's got any questions about transfers or screen printing. So what have you been up to, Frank? You been busy? I haven't seen you on too much. I seen you the other day on Rise. Now we're getting into this. The other thing too with the DTFs, you can do, I mean, print on it, press on anything, but they sent some really small shirts also. So we made the transfers compatible with pretty much any of the shirts that they sent. All right, yeah, do that, Frankie. I'll check it out. What kind of music do you your band do, Frankie? What style of music you guys make? It's the same Instagram, Frankie. I think it's actually Robert or Robert actually. I can't remember. Are there many Spanish rock bands? Well, I must have said a bit and I got sidetracked talking. Got it, Frankie. I'll have to look at it after because the phone is used. I'm using my phone. Last one of the backs. Thank everyone for the thumbs up also. Don't have many on here right now, but thank you everyone for liking and subscribing. So now I can press this, or I can do it a few different ways. When I go to do the front, I don't know if you noticed there was some extra glue on this one, and actually what happens is when you press, the glue will actually just vanish and drop in, like press into the shirt. So if anyone's ever got any questions about that, you don't have to worry about the excess glue. Now on these fronts, the biggest thing to remember is cover sheet. If you don't put a cover sheet and you press on a small object, especially if you've got glue residue on them, it can lift up and stick to the platen and peel it off. And with these being cold peels, it's going to peel the transfer off the shirt. So you have to let them cool so then you can peel them, then it will stick. But if you pull a cold peel right away, when it's hot, you're going to ruin it. So just keep that in mind. I've had people ask, can you press the front and then peel all that? You can. It's personally up to you how you want to do it. I just tend to press it right after, just like I'm doing now, and then flip it. Pressing the front would be enough pressure and temp and time, because it would be the same time, to actually set the back in. It's just I'd rather double press it. So these shirts are getting pressed a lot more than they really need to, but it helps get it into the fibers, gives it a better press, better look. Oh boy, we got another one on. So now we're up to 4 people. When I set this over there, I'll see who the other ones are, because I can't see the comments on the phone. Hey, it's NovaWorks. How's it going? I'll have to look for it, Mike. I've got it somewhere in my files. So I'll look for it and try to find it for you. I haven't used it in a while, so, but I'll look for it and get it to you. The other way to go about them that I was going to do is I was actually going to just start screen printing some with UV inks, just so that you can, like, it's kind of like right now with the frosted, you can see the image, but like on a white shirt it doesn't stand out as good. But I was tempted to actually make it and just screen print all the stuff on it on the top, or you can still laser it and just do a groove, and on the groove have it back filled in, so you fill it in so you don't got to worry about it coming out. But if you want to make them quick, the quickest way would just be to screen print them with the pattern. Yeah, Mike, you can double press them. It doesn't affect it. This press is big enough, but I've done half and half. Just overlap on, make sure you get the whole thing. So if you're doing that, you would just like overlap the image, and it would be fine. It wouldn't cause a problem at all. I've done it on some bigger stuff. Like we put some of this on flags for people, and literally I just pressed it with sections. And it will work perfectly fine. They're really forgiving. I did a bunch of bags. We actually gave them out to a local organization. We gave over 100 bags, and on them you can't run them as hot, so we ran them at like 280 for the 15 seconds and pressed them, and they worked great. No problems whatsoever. And then we just put their logo in the center, and just little polyester bags, the drawstring bags. And the thing, even if you only got one shirt, you gotta let it cool before you peel it. But the thing with the DTF, if you're kind of like me, I'm putting these in a pile, pressing the other side, putting them in a pile, peeling. Your time doesn't really take no longer, because I'm still doing the secondary press. All I'm doing is moving things around. Sorry, I keep getting phone calls. I got 4 or 5 more on this run. Hey Jerry. Hey Oscar. How's it going, Oscar? Jerry, these are my own. I have my own. I've had a printer for almost 3 years now. I was one of the earlier people to have one brought in. I did tests on this stuff long before they were mainstream, like where everyone was using it. I've got some old videos on it and all that, about even importing them, getting them in here. But these are my own. They're just a bunch of, this is for a company, a construction company. I just print my own. I've got a 24-inch wide printer from China, dual head, 2 i3200 print heads in it. I've tried different film, like the hot peel and all that, and to me I like the cold peel, so literally I still stick with the cold peel. I've tried different, that slipped. I've tried different glues and adhesives, like the the black, so you get the black underbase. They all work about the same, but I still stick with what I'm using. The powder grade and all that, it works great. Haven't had an issue. Been using it quite a while. And it holds up. So the other stuff I've tried, even my inks, I've used the same ink. I get it. I buy quite a bit. I buy multiple liters of it at a time to have it imported in. And like I said, all I do is like the left chest, I made them and cut them up. I have tried other people's DTF, Jerry, also. Tried them. I've got tried Supercolor stuff. I've tried TKO. I've tried other companies that make DTFs. And like for 15-cent transfer, yeah, you can't beat like a TKO 15-cent transfer. Depending on quantity of something you need, TKO would actually be better than transfers if you're doing it yourself. Like for instance, like we did shirts for, I'm from Bowling Green here, and we had a tornado a while back, so we did promotional shirts for that stuff. That we, is just really not promotional, they were fundraiser shirts where we raised money. And so we printed them, and so we had multiple designs. I need 50 transfers, semi-full color. Yeah, that's like this order, Mike. I've got shirts in different piles because what the customer wanted, he's got different, like there's 3 of them in the business, and they all wanted their own numbers on the back. And first they had it with all their numbers together, and it looked kind of crazy. Having 3 numbers, area codes, and all that on it, it was kind of overkill. So what he ended up doing, and I convinced him, I was like, hey, just put 1 number on there. And he said, well, how about we do 1 number, but we want all of our numbers on there on equal amount of shirts. So we divided the shirts up how they wanted them. And then we printed, like I said, each of them has got equal number of shirts and the colors that they wanted and all that with them. And then they each got their own number on the back. So they're getting exactly what they wanted, where the advantage of that, like even like on TKO or anything like that, to make 1 transfer, it's not worth it. Sorry, I keep getting text messages. That's where these transfers come in. Hey Pam, how's it going? I'll have to check it after, Mike, because I'm using my phone to actually record this. And then I'm looking back and forth over on the, trying to anyways, on the monitor to read what's going on. And then as you can see too, like their images, we had to change a bunch for them. They sent it, and then like they've got some gray shirts also they put these on. And so we had to change the colors for them because they didn't think about grays not matching up. So they changed the shirt colors, they changed the image, they changed all that. It's a good customer though. I mean, a local friend of mine that owns a company. But that's the advantage of DTF over any of the other transfers, especially if you're printing them yourself. You can actually you can do that stuff where if you're not printing them yourself, that can be a headache. Now you can still get the transfers made from people and do the number thing like I did. The because most places they don't charge you for quantity, or it's quantity based, but you can buy one transfer from a lot of people. So you can buy just one transfer, and that's all you, like if that's all you needed or wanted, they're going to sell you one, because there is no setup fee. TKO and Supercolor and all of them, the reason they have setup fees is they're using kind of what a lot of people call a hybrid method. And what it is they're printing with a printer onto the film. So they're let's say printing onto this film. Now granted they're using a different material, but they're printing with like a laser printer. I've got some videos on that where I've done it. So they're printing onto here. Well, then what they do is they take this image and they screen print the ink on the back. So they're either going to have, can't remember if I pressed this one or not. So they're either going to have their white ink on the back, water base, or they're going to have like a plastisol ink, or they're going to have whatever latex ink, or whatever ink they're using on the back is what they're going to have on the back of the transfer. So that's how they print it. So what they have to do, they have to make a screen for the whole image that's got to be coated. And then they put the powder on it just like you would if you're making a normal transfer, like a 15-cent transfer and all that. Or even on here, you're putting powders underneath them. So they're doing the same thing, but the reason they have a minimum is they've got to make a screen. So if they didn't, and that's why a lot of them's got like that, the setup fees and all that, is because they're covering the screen cost. So if you didn't have a screen cost, then you can do the one-off. And that's where DTF has got an advantage, because like literally you can do like one print if you want, and you don't need a screen. You just got to set it up. Now what you do got to remember is your media width. Like my media is 24 inches wide. So if I print something that's only like these, we turned them sideways and we ran 3 or 4 of them onto the thing and then cut them. So if I only printed one, then I'm going to be wasting the other width. So you got to factor that in. But what you can always do is put your own promotional stuff on there. Or if you're pricing them for people, just price accordingly. So just adjust your price to what you're printing, and it's pretty simple. On the other stuff, they're using like 13 by 19 sheets, which is technically your standard. If you're doing screen printing, that's normally what you're going to make your films out of anyways. So you're going to be printing on the same size. You don't really have to worry about seams, collars, or anything. I'm not threading these shirts, as you can tell. How did it come out, Pam? Did you get it done? This one we're going to press one more time. Wanted to kind of lift. Hopefully this one will be fine. If not, we'll throw another. Looks better. We'll just be cautious when we work that one. What I'm going to do is finish this order really quick, and then I got, I think, 2 or 3 more to peel and press, and then we'll be calling it a day. I wasn't really planning on going live. I figured I had to do some orders, so I might as well record the process so people can actually see it live and ask any questions about it. The reason why you cover on these small ones is just like that one a minute ago. It even lifted with the transfer or the Teflon. But smaller images and small detail can lift until it's all the way cured. And so that's the whole point of putting the transfer sheet over. Once the ink dries or the glue dries, then you shouldn't have a problem. But if the glue's not dry, you can run into an issue. The other thing that people ask about is what if there was, like, for instance, right there's a little spot of glue that was still on the paper. What happens when you press the second press? That's the whole point of the second press. It's going to pretty much dissolve that glue and bond that glue into the shirt, make it kind of vanish so you won't see it. That's the other point of the secondary presses. It cleans up anything else that might have been on there still and fixes the problem. Normally, Pam, on the big order, I'll run it through I've got a big conveyor, but like on smaller orders, I have actually just cured them in the toaster oven. You can cure them, you just got to watch your temps and times. It's something, it's kind of like cooking barbecue. It's a slow heat. You don't want to, like, it's not something like, so if you turn it up, it's going to cook quicker. What happens, you can cause more problems with it. So it's just a set time and more or less a temp. So like for instance on here where I was running them the other day, I'm running right around the timer, like my probe is off on it. So I'm running on them ones, I was running right around 270, 280. And then I was running them for like, I think 2 minutes roughly. This is the time. You can leave them in a little longer, it's not going to hurt. What it is, you want the backs to kind of like orange peel. You want it to do that. You want to get all the moisture out, so if there were more moisture in it, what will happen, you'll see it if you leave the transfers over time. If that was the case and you're still getting moisture in the transfer, what you're going to want to do is just cook them a little bit longer. And like I said, everyone's got their own temp and time. They do sell the ovens. They work pretty good, especially if you're using the sheets. They're pre-made to the sheet. They got the temp time, and they pop open just like you would one of these. I forget how many. They're little money though. Yeah, and that's what I was saying. Like, they do have the curing ovens. And they're not bad, honestly, especially for if you're not doing thousands of prints, like at a time. The curing oven's great. Because the other thing, too, you got to remember the speed of your printer will determine how quick they need to. Like, so if I'm only printing, let's say a 13 by 19, so we can do a standard sheet. Let's say I print one of them and it takes 5 minutes to print. Well, I don't need an oven that can dry them at a minute because it's just going to be sitting there. So it's just like screen printing. You want your dryer to be, and now the shirt's done. So see, we printed it, and it's all good to go. So you want your weakest link, honestly, to be, well, your printer, if you're worried about the dryer. So the ovens are great. I would go with one of them, Pam, if it's in your budget. The little ovens that they make, because honestly, they do work great. They got the timer. Once you got it dialed in, it's perfect. You set the time, the temp, and more or less you put it in there, it pops out. Works great. You can dry them also on the press. The thing is, if you got like a clamshell, it's going to dry more towards the back than the front. But you can use them also. It's just, you got to make sure you get, the biggest thing is you want to get the moisture out of it, and you want the glue to cure. So it's one of them things. It's not tricky. It's whatever works best that you're working with. Like, there's no need to go with a full conveyor like that I have. The downside with them is I'm running 8 to 10 feet of material through my whole maze of stuff before it's actually, because you've got to have it go through the dryer, and you can't run the first print up and down through it. It's just not going to cure. So I've got to run it through manually. What I do is I've got some extra, and you just staple it to it, so I'm not wasting media. But that's the problem, is if you're doing it the other way, you are going to have the big ones, and then even at the end, it's going to, when you cut it, the last little bit's going to want to fall off. So big conveyors, honestly, are only good as if you're running a continuous roll. So the big rolls aren't running continuous, is the only reason to really use one of them. So if you're not running that, just go with the little desktop ones. Like I said, if it's in the budget. If you want to start out even simpler, use your, if you're doing tumblers and you've got the convection oven, use a convection oven at first until you get the money saved up. I'm sure you'll have it, Pam, but to get the little ovens that they make for them. But if you didn't have it and you just want to try something right away, the convection oven works great. Another thing, get a big Tupperware bowl. Or not really Tupperware, but a big tub, so that when you're powdering these, because you want to be able to put the print in the powder, shake it all around, knock the powder off before you do that. So get something big enough for the biggest size print you're using. I went to Walmart and I got one of their little, forget what size it is, and I put it in there. Just because there's a lot of times, like when I'm doing, let's say 1 or 2 prints, I'm not even going to worry about turning on the other dryer. I'm just going to do it by hand. I'm going to shake them by hand, and it works great. I wouldn't worry. But yeah, get you something big enough. Some people put like the powder in the salt shaker and shake it on top. I found it's easier to just get a big enough thing, literally put it underneath the powder, leave spots on the side, and run it through about 2 or 3 times to make sure the powder's on there really good. You can look at it and see, flick the back, because you don't want excess buildup of powder. You don't want like 2 or 3 inches of powder sitting on the top. And see, like I said, these are super small sizes, and they work great. Like I said, you can get away. Good chatting with you, Mike. I'll talk to you later. I'll check out the message thing. And see, this is a front and back print, and you can do one side, press the other, and then pull them both and repress them. I'm not in a rush. I'd rather press both sides twice, so they each get their secondary press. I just feel better doing that. It doesn't really matter, though. Hey, what's up, Rooster? How's it going? Like I said, I like the cold peel better. when I'm doing like cut vinyl, yeah, I want hot peel, but something like this, cold peel, works great. Well, I'm glad you're back home safe. The other thing too with the quantity, because this whole order, yeah, we missed you, Rooster. You didn't miss too much. I'm just printing all these today. But the other thing, like if you were trying to screen print this is 3 colors because it's white, orange, and gray. So if you're trying to screen print this, now you're going to need 6 screens to do this order. And then that's if you're not going to do a top white. But even just, let's say if you use the underbase as the white, you need 6 screens to do this order for 40-something shirts. So, and you're actually going to need more than that because there are 3 different numbers on them, the backs. So you'd have 9 screens on the back just alone, and then 3 on the front. So you're running 12 screens to do this order. This is where sometimes the DTF comes in handy because that'd be 12 screens for that order. You're going to have to charge a pretty hefty price to add up for all the chemicals they use on them screens. And that's the last one of this one. Thanks everyone for giving the video a thumbs up. Let me check these other ones real quick. Let me throw some of the other parts away. What did Rooster say? Hey, what's up, Act Bad? Yeah, what I'm printing, Rooster, this is one of my friends. He owns a construction company. And so, I printed the transfers. And what it is they had 3 different numbers. And so, what it is at first I had them all the numbers on there. And then they decided to take the quantity of the shirts and divide it by 3, and then they each get their own number on it. So that's what we ended up doing with the order. And like I said, there's only so many shirts. And the other thing too, had all these random colors. Because this is what he provided me, I didn't go get them. I didn't do anything with it. It was all the stuff he sent me. And so we're going to run the rest of them, I guess. And like I said, he got them. We got a Fruit of the Loom wholesale near me. It's really not wholesale. That shirt price is $4.95, if you guys can see that. So it's really not a wholesale price, but I guess some people think it is. Fruit of the Loom is headquartered here in Bowling Green, Kentucky. So a lot of people in this area will use the Fruit of the Loom stuff for all their orders. And that's what he ended up doing. He went to the brand outlet store, bought a bunch of the shirts, thought he had a great deal. And then he's like, hey, I need some shirts printed. Can you help me? After he already had the shirts, instead of asking what it would be for me to get the shirts. And he's got long sleeve, short sleeve, ladies, men's. So, long story short, we agreed to print them, or do the transfers. And then he ended up with the logo. The gray that they had on their original logo was the same color as the gray shirts they sent me. So he asked, could we change the color? We went through a bunch of things to get it so that it would print them. So it was kind of a nuisance, really, but it's a paying nuisance at a good price, so I can't really complain. And like I said, it's a front and back print. And like I said, 3-color front, 3-color back. The other thing, like I said, I gotta peel all these stupid stickers off that are on there because they either got stickers or they got the other tags. And like I said, he owns a construction company, does good work. Worked with him a lot. When I had my roofing company, he was actually one of my main people that would go to the job sites and translate for me. So he started doing his own, and he's doing great work, does other stuff besides roofing and all that now. And he's a great guy. I worked with him a long time at a bunch of different jobs, so. But yeah, Russo, that's the thing with the screens. I mean, and then like, even if you're, let's say you had your own equipment and you're just printing them for yourself, like the chemicals alone, that you'd be putting on the screens, like, as everyone knows, you put emulsion on, take it off, and get a screen from back to pretty much usable again. Every time you've got about $5 in chemicals because you got the emulsion that you're using, you've got emulsion remover, cleaner, you got water and all that. But on average, a lot of people say it's about $5 per screen that it's costing the shop. So even at that, you got a lot of money tied up in that. So like that's where the DTF really, especially on a shop running these, it was cheaper for me to print these than it was to actually even screen print them because the number changed. That alone was a big thing because that added 9 screens to the job instead of just the 3. So that part made it where it was almost a no-brainer on what process to go with. And that's the big thing where you have all the stuff at your disposal. You can kind of pick and choose what method is the best for you, which one's going to be most productive, and which one's going to make you the most money. These shirts are like super moist. This whole weekend we've been without the heat index. We've been 96 to 98. We've had horrible weather here. It's been super hot, so. And our humidity, it's running pretty high. Our humidity is in the 70s here all the time lately, 70s and up. So it's like a sauna out there. Like, so the downside about when customers send it, and like I said at the beginning, is even like, well, a few things. Like, one, I got to peel all these stickers off this every single shirt. The other thing is, if these were like seconds or anything like that, where they've got defects, there's nothing you can really do. And like, here's a perfect example. There's glue on this. I'm going to press it. When we do the secondary press, that glue will vanish. That's the nice thing about the glue and all that stuff. You don't really have to worry, where a lot of people's ask that, what about glues, or do you see glue marks? You don't have none of that when you're doing this stuff. It will go away. We're getting down there. And I'm hoping I have enough fronts in this section that I pre-cut, because I don't remember the total that I had to do. So far I'm sitting right around 62 impressions up and down on that press, so it'll be a close one. Hey, what's up, United Federation of Nerds? How's it going up in Canada? Guys, he's getting ready to drop a new video this coming week. He posted on his Facebook thing, so keep an eye out at United Federation of Nerds. He's got a video coming out this week. Well, that's good. The reason I keep putting the Teflon on it is there is some glue on the back side of these, and the problem is, if you're not careful, it can, especially on the small ones, any little thing will just lift right up, so it can cause some issues and some problems. So if you keep the Teflon sheet on there, you don't have the problem. Yeah, I've done a few shirts lately. This ain't my first rodeo, apparently. And that's like, too, if I was really worried about speed, what I could do is, on the secondary press, I could change the time. Even on the initial press, I'm doing 15 seconds. I've got it as low as 8 seconds before. I just like keeping it at the 15. The secondary, I don't want to go through and reset the time. It's kind of lazy, I guess you'd say, but at the end of the day, it works. I'm fine with it. I'm not in a rush. Just taking my time, sitting here talking to you guys. So, like I said, on some of these are long sleeves. It's like these ones right here that we're, I guess, going through right now. What it is he sent them, told me just to divide them, grab them one by one and put them in different piles. So we did it. So some of these, like I said, are long sleeves. Some of these are short sleeves. Some of these are jerseys. Some of these are... It's got all the ones that Fruit makes, Fruit of the Loom up there. But so we just got a mass variety of shirts that we're running through on these orders. I've got probably 4 or 5 more shirts, I think, in that pile. And then we got to do the secondary press and do the front. So total time on these, not the fastest on them. So I mean, it does take a little bit more time than if you're screen printing, but if you're manually screen printing, I'm a lot quicker because you're not going to get it that quick on a manual screen print. Auto, no competition. The auto will just walk away from you. But, like I said, it's not too bad a time. Oscar says, I need to put the logo on top of the pocket. I need to use the pillow press. Not really, Oscar. You can press them. With DTF, you can press right on top of it. It ain't going to matter. Depending if you're using something else, I might use the pillow. DTF, it doesn't really matter at all. I wouldn't worry, like I said, if you're using DTF, because like if you notice, and of course I'm pressing it so I can see the shirt underneath, so I can see the actual location, where it's at, and I've got my center line. But like you can press these over anything. It's not really going to matter. You can press it over seams, over grooves. My opinion on it is the other brand, it depends on what parts they're putting in them, because here's the thing. Almost all printers, yeah, and you can do cardstock too, like Mike said. If you're screen printing them, yeah, I wouldn't put a pillow if I'm screen printing. I'd put a rigid spot, but and here's the thing, like this shirt had an X on it, so there might have been a defective shirt. That's the thing about using stuff customers send you instead of you supplying them. You never know what it is. Most of the printers, though, as long as they're all using whatever print head because the print head's going to determine the speed of them. But they're all going to be Epson print heads in these systems. So really, the biggest thing is, if it's a US-based company, because there are a lot of them that are importing them now, the biggest thing with that is to find a company that you like, or even if you're buying direct from like Fun Sun and all that, they do stuff like that. There's not really bad ones. It's just, you've got to understand that DTF ink has got to be used every single day. The printers can't sit. If they sit, you're going to clog a print head. Doesn't matter which kind. I have let mine sit when I've gone on vacation for close to a week, but mine's got an auto cycle where it's literally auto cycling that ink and cleaning it or flushing it. So If you're not running something like that, and even then I would suggest to people, like I was worried that it might have been bad on the print head when I got back. So far I have been lucky though. But in general though, they are made to be used every single day. Or the print head will clog and you'll get ink in the lines. You'll get a lot of issues. So run them like they're supposed to. Even if you're only printing like your own name or something like that, or one of your own, let's say left chest or little sharks. Print something with them every day because they need to be printed with every day, or if not, you're going to run into issues. It's a 1390. The nice thing about that, the print heads aren't too expensive on a 1390. The single print head, so you're going to average 1390 at best. It's like less than 10 prints an hour on a full 13 by 19 print, that is. But it's still great because you might not be doing like DTF, like even full color stuff. You're getting into like higher markup pricing. You're also getting into customization. If you're printing your own brand, for instance, like stuff like you do Rooster and all that, or for other companies, you can get some high dollar markup stuff. Like for instance, these shirts, we gave the money to charity, sold them for 25 bucks. There's no way I could screen print all these colors that are in here to get it to look like that. So that being said, it's hard to beat something like that. And like the other thing too, we were only printing one at a time as we needed them. Now granted, if I would have had an order for 10,000, I would have had to screen print them. But everyone bought different prints. We had multiple prints for them to choose from. And that's what ended up happening. People bought the prints they liked. And so that's where the huge advantage of DTF you can do. If we did hearts for Valentine's for somebody a long time ago, you can do all these random things and literally flop over to something else. And the other thing too, even at the 13 by 19, you can actually get more than prints on there. Because like for instance, a lot of people, they don't go 13 wide even. They go 10 inches wide, some companies do, on the front. So you can actually put a lot more on there for the same amount of money. Let me show you something. Once I get this one started, I'll show you another print kind of explaining that, something I do. Like I've got my Detroit Police logo. Well, I can run quite a few of these on a 13 by 19 width because they're only 3 inches tall. So you can really stack some things up that way if you're... Oh, there goes a print, whatever it was. Hey Jesse, how's it going? Yeah, so by stacking them up, or if you're filling up the whole area, you're going to get a lot more prints too. And that's the thing, like I said, it just depends. I mean, very seldom you're going to have a jumbo print that's 13 by 19. So a lot of times you can get a front and back print on some of these things, and you're really coming ahead with that compared to if it's just one print. Then the price of the things is in your favor. So the advantage of that too, now that you've got that, let's say you're only doing 6 to 10 prints an hour. Well, now if you're printing 5 logos on that one paper, now your numbers are going up dramatically. So it's just depending on what you're doing. Or like left chest, like these left chests, literally the 13 by 19 area. I did a 19 by, I think it's 19 by 19. So, but like I had room left over on it, but I put all these on there just on one piece. So that's the other thing too, is if you gang them correctly, like I said, that would only if I was running a 13 by 19, and how I would have laid them out differently, I would have filled up that whole page. And then maybe had to use another one, but I would have got all of them on there just on two pieces of film. So that time, especially too, like these ones right over here, the ones that I did on, hard It's too hard to reach over there, but the international paper video I did, all it was left chest. There's 100 and something shirts that we did the maintenance ones, but literally with them just sitting there, I put all them on, since I'm running 24-inch wide media, I was able to put all of them on the 20-inch by, I think it was 19 when I ran it, and put all them on there and still had room left over for some other stuff. And so literally, like, if you're running 13 by 19, it would have been 2 sheets to do 100 shirts. So the time, even if it was like 5 minutes of print, or let's say, well, 10 minutes of print, still 20 minutes, and you've got 100 shirts printed, the transfer for them. So, because it's just like, too, where everyone's got the, what brand is it? They're at all the trade shows. They're heat press, or they got the DTF, and then they make the Cheetah one and all that. But anyways, their machine, they also have, the Cheetah's their fast one, but their other one, Omniprint. That's who I'm trying to think of. Omniprint has some machines that, like that Omniprint, you're not doing 20 prints an hour, but now you can if it was just left chest. That's the thing too, where you got to also understand is, what are you printing on media? What size is the image? Like on these, we turn them sideways. And so on 19 inches, it ended up being 19 because of the size of these. We got 3 to 4 of them wide on the 20-inch media, but so if you factor that being on a 19-inch, you turn it the other way. But you can get quite a few things done that way. And like I said, you're knocking them out even more. But like the Omniprint too, like that machine isn't going to do 100 prints an hour, no matter what. That printer, like it's using like the 13 by 9 or 1390 print head in it, the Epson. So what you would do is like on any of that, and I always factor going by a 13 by 19 sheet. That's what I call a front print and back print. But the other thing too, you might not be using. Okay, the next question. Sheets or rolls? Rolls are cheaper, but your printers don't have cutters on them printers, so you have to figure, do you want to manually cut them? If you're buying the sheets, the 13 by 19 sheet is going to be more than the 13 wide roll. So on that, it's like, to me, I'm going to go roll. Like, I use roll on my printers because that's what it has. The downside, if you're selling to customers, you're going to have to measure the roll, or just only print the one and then cut it and roll it back. But for instance, like the roll would look something like that. So like, it's nice to put it in there, and you know how many, you can print a lot more than if you're only doing one sheet at a time. If you're selling people sheets, though, it's going to be a clean cut sheet when you're doing them the sheets. It's just, on that, it's a cost thing. The roll is going to be cheaper than a sheet, but it's a personal thing. If you're just starting out, do you really need the rolls if you don't have, let's say you don't have that much things lined up? Here's a perfect example, guys. Someone asked, there is glue right there. There was glue on the transfer. So here's what happens when you press it. That glue is going to dissolve. So people ask about that. But yeah, so you got 70 cents a sheet, and then whatever the roll is per the square foot. The roll is going to be cheaper. So it's one of them things, it's a cost thing, whatever you find better is for you. And see, guys, the glue is gone. There's no glue mark. That's the thing where, like, people think the glue, I had a comment in one of the videos the other day, someone asked about glue. The glue, when you heat press this, it kind of vanishes on the secondary press. On the first press, it will be there. On the secondary press, it goes away. That's one of the other reasons why you do the secondary press, is to get rid of the glue. I like to be able to. Yeah, a lot of them though, Rooster, check, and I'll have to look and see if I can find one for you. A lot of the 13 by 19, they do have an adapter. You can adapt the roll to it. They just don't have roll cutters. So you're still going to have to cut it after when it comes out. But the roll will be cheaper than it is the sheets. But even then, like you said right there, so the sheets are 70 cents a sheet is what it's averaging out. It's really not that bad a price. 70 cents isn't. On top, and then you got your ink cost for a transfer. So like when you go online and look at what people charge, there is time and all that. You're only going to be able to knock out so much an hour. But like if you're doing a job like this right here, so now you've got, let's say, $1 in ink on top of it. So now you've got almost $2 in that print, and then the upcharge price that you're going to be upcharging these customers are a lot more. Or if you're doing your own brand, so that's where DTF, like I said, and it's still cheaper. Like where we did the cost of screen printing, still cheaper than the emulsion cost than it is. Just in the chemicals, just for all these screens. So the cost savings are great. Like I said, the roll would be better. It's just finding one that would do both. And then, like I said, if it doesn't have a cutter, you're gonna have to trim them after. If you're, like I said, if you're selling them, and you're not selling by the roll anyways, you could even cut it. The downside, you're gonna have something like that, like a slight jagged edge to it, or a rough edge, because I'm just freehand cutting these when I get done with scissors, so it drifts on me a little bit. So like I said, if you're fine with that and the customers, it's fine. Like you can see all these, none of these have square pieces where I just cut and trimmed them after. So if you're fine with that and the customers, it's fine. If you want to look more presentable, the 13 by 19 sheet is going to be the way to go, because it's going to give you that clean look. It's going to make it look better. Other nice thing that not a lot of people take in consideration is when you're doing transfers over screen printing is the environment you're working in. Okay, now I do got the heat coming off this heat press, so I do feel a little bit of the heat, but I'm in my house right now. The AC's on. I'm a lot cooler. My building, you guys have seen the temps in the shed out there. It gets very hot, so the advantage on something like that is a huge advantage, because I can sit in comfort in here compared to sweating to death in the screen printing shop. So there are pluses and minuses. Like I said, the time definitely is slower compared to if it was being ran on an auto. But with the changing out of all this other stuff, it still would have took time, setup and all that. Where this way, it goes pretty quick. And then technically there are ways too, like, so I could have screen printed this and done like high opacity ink for the gray, and had the numbers be on the same screen. So I mean, I could have cut down some of my quantities of screens, but it would have been a lot of thinking, working, and then the downside, if something happened, then you got to go back and try to re-register. If you're using one screen to do multiple things and something happens, or you got to make more, it can be a nuisance. The other thing is, like I said, you guys see me do lives before. Lives out in the building, pretty tricky, no good internet, and I am sweating to death. Here I'm not working too hard. I'm stepping maybe 2 to 3 feet away. And then, like, occasionally, like just now, I went over to the other computer to read all the things if I see anything pop up. Another thing, guys, if you're into the sublimation industry or any of it, use mug presses, man. Them things are amazing. Chinese mug presses are hard to beat. The cost. We have some. If you need some, but like just the speed and the ease of a mug press is hard to beat. And you get good consistency with the mug press. You just rotate the mug. Is there any questions anyone's got? Any other questions? We're getting kind of in the home stretch. I think I got 3 more shirts here, and then we got to peel and do the fronts. But once we get onto that, it's all done. Yeah, I seen that gas tank, that Harley. Post the photos after you get that done, Rooster. That's going to look cool. See, Rooster, I do follow you. Guys, check him out and some of the stuff he does. He does some pretty cool stuff. Thanks everyone for being on here. Thanks everyone for giving it a thumbs up, for liking the video. Hope you guys find this content helpful. If you guys got any questions, let me know. I decided to try to do a Rye live where I'm actually working and talking instead of just sitting and talking. So again, thanks everyone for stopping in. Guys, if you also ever need anything, check out my affiliate links down below. It does help. We're up to 7 thumbs up. Thanks so much, guys. Like I said, I wasn't planning on going live. Didn't get to go live last night, so I figure I would go live today and cover this. I will say this, people that are questioning should they get a DTF and all that, you will be impressed with some of the fun stuff you can do and how much it broadens your horizons on what you can do, the money you can bring in, because now you can compete with companies that have full color presses, are able to do full color, and then the quality it's just amazing. Like the quality you get off the DTF, the holdability, the stretchability, this stuff's amazing. I mean, it's definitely, there's a slight feel difference between screen printing, but it's got its own feel. Especially stuff like this left chest, these small things, you don't really feel it at all on the shirts. This stuff is really smooth. And you can print on almost anything with this stuff. I mean, it does a great job. If you checked out, I posted some photos yesterday on my Facebook page. Some of the stuff I did the other day. And yesterday I posted a quick live. Also covered some of the stuff. And this is the last front. So now we gotta peel them all. So what I always do is I stack everything in a pile, and then I just put it in the other pile. I just flip them over, so that I'm grabbing the, in this case would be the coldest one, would be the first one that I did, and that's all I do. By the time, like I said, when you go through them, by the time you get to one side, the other one's already done. I'm even on like 3 of them. You can rotate that quick with just 3. Like literally 3 shirts would, if you set them and they're not in the same spot, you can get them to cool that quick. Like I said, all I'm doing is grabbing them, peeling and pressing. And if you're really worried, I mean, or wanted to, like right now, like I just came over there and peeled 2, so you can be doing other things in between. Like I said, there are ways, like peeling them would help a few seconds quicker. It's not really going to matter. I'm not going to win any races by doing it that way. It's not. But if you, it does help make it go a little bit quicker. So if you want to do that, you can. So does anyone got any questions or any other screen printing related questions? getting there. Almost done. Like I said, you don't have to peel them before. You can peel it on the shirt. It's totally up to you. Or on the press. I know there's some of you guys out there that is getting ready to purchase some DTF equipment. Keep me up to date. Let me know how it's going. Let me see what you guys are working on. I know some have purchased, some's in the process, and then some people are looking at it. It's kind of like it's a step above sublimation equipment on cost and all that, and depending what size sublimation equipment you have, but you can do some pretty impressive things with that to fill up the void in between, and you can get some pretty good priced equipment. You don't have to go way crazy on some of this equipment out there. There is some equipment that's not going to break the bank on pricing. So, like the people that went with the 570 sublimation printers, if you're going to go with that, you can get into DTF. You can even get some other ones. Like I said, you can convert and make them your own. The other thing, make sure you have a trash bag for all your trash. We are in the final stretch. I think I got 3 more to go. And we will be done. We've already peeled them, so everything came out fine. Now we're just doing the presses to set them in there. The nice thing with the DTF stuff is that it can fill the voids, like where you couldn't do sublimation on this unless you put like a patch or something on it. That's where it's really helpful. Yeah, and like the other thing too, though, like also when you got the embroidery machine, that's the nice thing too. Like I've got stuff for embroidery right there. It's the nice thing about the whole stuff is if you get into the industry, there's a lot of other stuff that you can use to expand the business. Like I said, I don't just do one thing. If I did, it's not bad, but the more you can offer your customers, like embroidery, screen printing, the more business you can draw in, because you'll always have a customer wanting more or want to know what else you can do. And so if you have the ability to do that stuff, they might not look elsewhere on some of the other things. And so it will help out a bunch for your business. And like Pam was saying, she wished you could convert one. Honestly, some of it too nowadays, it's just as nice to have, just to get one already done instead of trying to mess with it. Like here's a good example. I mean, we're done now, so here's some ones I did yesterday during the thing. Let me set them over here. So some of these are some old prints I had that we're just running. So we've got like this one. Let me put them on here, and then I'll just refold them after. And like I said, I did a quick video. I got a video on them, I think, coming out. We did this one on a dynamic shirt, which Dynamic uses Gildan and they just bleach them. We got a ROLLO style baseball shirt. And then we got a Toltex shirt. Some fun prints, some fun designs, and some great stuff to work with. Yeah, that is the thing, Pam, is finding some of them nowadays. It gets pretty tricky to find, because the big thing is with all the stuff too, like with getting anything over here in the States is getting pretty hard right now. Like shirts too. I mean, it's like pulling teeth to find all the orders I need. And like I said, I eventually do get most of the orders filled, but it can be tricky. Like, so what I've been doing is like my standard stuff I stock up on anyways. But like some of the stuff like that blue one, it was just a random color they wanted. Luckily, they had that size in stock, but if not, I would have been in trouble because they were out of the other sizes. So that's one of the things, like, it does get, on buying equipment or anything right now, it does get harder and harder just because right now getting things here is getting pretty rough. But I do think it's going to eventually catch back up, and we will be fine soon on that. Business-wise, like I said, I'm slammed. I mean, that's why I did a live today. I was working yesterday, and then, of course, did these ones now. Thanks again, guys, for watching. Thanks for the thumbs up. If you guys got any questions, leave them down below. Hopefully, you guys found this informative. Again, guys, I'm waldo 2413, so I'm going to head on out here, guys. Thanks again. Peace. I'm out.